All right. So we are good to go with the SQL Server Management Studio. So here we are using this server name. For you, this might be different. And if you are able to install this software in your laptop, then fine. Otherwise, we have multiple online solution as well, right? So I'm going to connect this SQL server, and let's see what kind of operations do we have here, right? So we will see in this session OR operator. We will see in this session how to deal with AND operators, right? How to deal with and OR simultaneously. How we will go with the between functions and so on, right? So before going with these questions, let me go through the part of this one. Hmm. So currently we do not have any table. Can you see if I'm going to click on this new query? So in this SQL server, we do not have any table. So inside the server, I'm having multiple databases. In this databases, this Sachin is not having any table right now, right? So if I clicking on this Sachin, go to the tables, you find only one, two, three options are there, right? So I'm having select star from, let's say, customer. If name is having space in between, so you can put quotes in between around the table name, right? So my table name is customer purchase, right? So I'm going to execute this part. Can you see C-U-S uh,
You
U-S-T-O?
spelled purchase wrong.
Oh, my bad. Oh, there might be some other. Okay. So what's the problem here? The problem here, we are in the wrong domain, right? Wrong database, right? We are under the master, but it should be under the Sachin, right? So if I'm going to run the code again, so can you see now it's giving perfect answer, perfect solution, all right? But sometimes when you are living inside the wrong database, you will have to execute this one, right? For this, if you want to use the code itself, so for this, I'll use the database name, right? So once you write the use and the database name, this is my database name. So I'm going to fetch the certain table attributes and their respective values out of it. Can you see it?
Okay.
Right? So this is the another code where we deal with the different kinds of databases, right? Currently, and also you can see it's also changed. Let me show you this again. Let's say I'm inside the master table, going to comment this one. So just execute. It's showing the invalid object name customer purchase. But if I'm and still it's in the under master domain. But if I'm going to delete this option and asking uh, compiler to change the database domain or location of the database, then you will find some changes over here also. So I'm going to execute this one, getting the correct output. But can you see this master is now transformed into respective such in database name just because of this code. All right.
Okay.
Now go back to my table where we have multiple values, right? So we have summarized data, summarize the aggregating functions, right? So average, sum, minimum, maximum count, right? So how to find the average of any number, of any numerical values? Let's say I want to find the average of sum, average of A's column, right? So I'll go to the average A's and from the current table. So I'll write from customer purchase, go to the home section, we'll execute this one. I'll find the average is invalid average operator. Budget. They with budget. They use something wrong. Is possible. So it's sensitive. Operand data type. Oh, my bad. So this is kind of like when you go for the file tables, like customer purchase, you find the columns value. When you go for the A's, so it's kind of var character, right? Everything is in the format of var character. It's not the integer value, right? It's not the float. It's not the numerical inside this column, right? So similarly, if let me check the Titanic data set, and similarly we find the columns, you find everything is in the var character, right? So you do not have any var character name, like you do not have any character values there. This is the only reason it's showing the wrong average operator there, right? You are deploying this average over var character data type, which is the character itself. So for this, what should I do? I'll create a new table, or and will try to deploy same code. Let me copy this create table employees. Go to, so can you see now it's having multiple variety of object part here, right? So integer as a primary key, it should be unique, no duplicate values, where character, first name, department, hierarchy, date, the
What
hierarchy,
does var character mean?
variable of character, right? VAR means where, variable, CHAR means character. The position is like your name is consisting of character, but your age is of integer, or right, or float. Similarly, so we use similar values. Like for float, we use decimal, right? For 10 comma 2. So this will be using for decimal number, right? So if I'm going to copy this command, can you see years of experience is integer, right? So when you go for the Google and type decimal in SQL, you find decimal means you can have decimal number with a maximal total precision of 10, two of them after it was defined, 8 before, right? Total will be 10, two after the decimal, and 8 before. Can you see this one? Meaning of this one? Did you
Yeah.
write this one? Right. Let's say this might be 2, right? 20, let's say 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Then I can have more precision till here, right? So if any value will be there, like this one, so that will be truncated by this value only. If it is more than 5, so let's say this value is there, so it will be truncated to 5, 8, right? So how many total numbers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 digits are there. That's this 10 digit. How many total values post decimal, post period? That's only 2. This 2 showing precision value, right? How much precision do you want as a whole? Did you connect the
Okay.
dots?
Yeah.
Right. So let's say I'm writing 5 comma 3. So which means like it will be right. Uh, Total value will be 5, right? Total numbers will be 5, and we will have like decimal position will be here, like, so you will get precision till 3 decimal positions values post post period, right? Two numbers before decimal and three numbers post decimal, right? This is the format of decimal.
Okay.
All right. So allow me to create this table. Means you can see here we have only on the left pane. When you focus at the left pane, we have only three tables existing right now. Under the searching database, we have customer purchase, persons, and Titanic dataset. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Right? So the moment I'll create table naming employees, I'll put some these columns name. These are columns name, not the values. I'll put values in a different code of code. So as of now, I'm going to create table with certain column names. So I'm going to execute this one. Cannot find stored procedure. Create table. Can you see? It's a command successfully completed successfully, right? If I'm going to refresh this from the top, now go to the table section. Can you find this employees table here, right? If you
Yeah.
go to the tables, like go to the inside columns, can you see where character, last name where character, and hire date is this one, salary is decimal data type, year of experience is integer, that's it, right? Now, when you go for the new query and going to view the table which we have recently created one, so let's say this is the employees table. So we are going to execute this. Can you see it's showing all the respective columns? Employee name, first name, last name, years of experience, but none values are not showing. Reason being, we had not create even a single value. We had not inserted even a single values here. Can you see that? So how to insert this value? For this, we have this code. But C, but B. Can you see? This is the respective
Yeah.
code. All these are rows. Let's say if I'm going to eat this one, X. So can you see this employee ID is having one, John is the first employee, Doe is the last name, sales is the department, sales manager is the high, like position, and hire date is date, salary is 55,000, and years of experience is 5 years, right? Similarly, we have other employees too, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all will have respective values. So shall I run this code? So I'm going to select this one or execute. Can you see matrix value statement has been terminated? Okay. Okay. Copy this. Might be some error. One. Twice. Arithmetic. Arithmetic. Oh, I think values where character. One, two, one, two, 4. Okay. And wrong form.
Yeah.
right? So we had problem with this float number, so I just convert it into decimal numbers or this, right? So let's say we have another employees 6, 7, and this will be 8. So how would you keep remember this code? Like this code is like near about insert into employees, and we had another code for this creating table, table name, and the respective column names and their data types, their where character. So where character 50 means maximum you can store 50 values. Let's say your address is there. So it's not if address is very long, so like if it is containing 100 characters, so it's not there, like there is limitations upper bound, like you can store only 50 characters in your address. That's the like you in tutor as well, you can insert the only 300 words. Similarly, we have all these aspects, right? So I'm going to copy this one, execute. Can you see 5 rows are affected again? So let me select this query and now executing. Can you see 10 employees are there? Years of experience are this one, employees are there. Can you see? All are showing value. Now I'm going to cut A, cut C. How would you keep remember this code? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So my question is how would you remember this code? Like uh, code is like first code we have create table, right?
Yeah.
Table
And
name.
the other one is insert too.
Yes, and this is like table name is Ahana, right? So inside this Ahana, I need the your grade, right? The grade should be in decimal, of course. I'm going to get this decimal. For this decimal, I'll comma 1, right? I need 1 precision. Then I need roll number. Your roll number might be some primary, unique among all candidates in your class. Primary, it should be easier again, my data set, right? Now, what other names, what other characteristics here? So this would be nationality of Ahana, right? So I'll put that value. So nationality is kind of character. It's a string. It's not the numerical value, is it? So I'm going to keep this var character, keep it var character. And what should be the maximum name of any country? How many? What should be the maximum character of any country? The word.
Maximum?
Yes, because the var character is consisting the maximum maximum character numbers, any value. Let's say the name. So there should be name, uh, name upper limit of the name.
Ten?
Yes. Similarly, we can say the nationality of any country, the name of any country might consist of maximum 10 characters, right? Similarly, if you need, let's say the uh, marks, what should be the marks data type? Can you tell me what should be?
Integer?
Huh? Integer. Yes.
Integer?
Wonderful. So again, you can put integer data type, right? So it's your decision what kind of data type you are creating, right? So once you have created this table, then you will have to put this name, right? Put these values here. So what's the code for this value? We have insert into same order, right? So I'll write insert into uh, HANA. So I'm going to write the table name here this time, and we'll write one. How many columns do we have in the HANA table? One, two, three, four.
Four?
So I'll write all these 4 columns there. Columns name, not the values, but columns name in a single line, right? Like grade. then I'll write roll number, right? Then I'll write nationality, then I write marks, right? So in a same way, I'll write the value. So let's say grade is 15 and roll number is say 26. What's your roll number, class?
We don't have roll numbers.
Oh, so we have nationality. So nationality, I call it USA. So marks, so I'm assuming 55, right? So all these values are stored there. Let me remove all these value and we'll put semicolon after it, right? This is the way you can insert values in HANA and make sure the order of it. Can you see the order, the way you have written the column names, similar way will be connecting dots where we have written the values of these column names, respective values. So are we good to go? Should I go ahead?
Yeah.
All right. Can you see this operator is being there average years of experience where we have all the employees and we have average years of experience in this. But instead of years of experience, let me put this on first name, this average name, right? So I'm going to copy this command, execute. Can you see operand data type where character is invalid for average print? And this is the same type of error we were facing issues when we were trying to operate over the customer purchase, right? So when you try to put uh, aggregate functions on where character or non-integer numbers, you are facing the same kind of error. Just put an error on the screen. All right. So you just make sure you are giving the aggregate function over the right over the have employee ID. So I need average number of employee ID. So that's a 5, right? But that's wrong. That's a logically wrong because you are finding the roll number, the average number, which is the maximum value. Okay, let's say I'm going to find the maximum of employee ID, right? Who is the new one? So 10. Can you see 10 below at the bottom pane?
Yeah.
Finding 10 there, right? So it's showing no column name. So I can give the alias name for this and give maximum column, maximum employee ID. I can give any custom names for this. Can you see maximum employee ID is now column name for me.
Okay.
So in contrast, if you need to select the minimum name, so you will write minimum aggregate function, which is 1 currently, right? Have to change. Or you can go for the minimum, maximum, right? So these are all values, right? Average, right? So you need to find the average value, average years of experience. Let's say I'm interested in average years of experience, right? So it's showing 2, right? Or you find the average value, so it's showing 5, right? But you need average value where employee ID is greater than 5, right? So this is your object for employees, those are having employee ID greater than 5 unique. Can you see it's showing is 5, right? So there might be same average number of out of it, right?
Okay.
All right. So it's time to your turn. It's your turn to show your. Can you read it loudly?
Picking a unique ID, you've learned that a unique identifier is a unique value that identifies a record so that it can be distinguished from other records in the same table. Let's take a closer look at the employees table. Which of the fields do you think is best suited to be a unique identifier? Is it year hired? Wait, no, never mind. It's ID because no one has the same ID.
Can you
Because like if you're somewhere, you get an ID and it's different from everyone, so they can distinguish you from other people. They like other people may have the same name, or they may be hired in the same year as you, but your ID will be different.
can you read loudly?
Imagine you're designing a database and the following table has been suggested. Your task is to provide feedback on how this table could be improved. Use the skills you learned in the last video to critique it. Move each card to the proper bucket based on whether or not it is a good suggestion for improvement. The table name should be made singular. The table name should not be
You have to
capitalized.
drop item here.
Yeah, but I didn't watch the video.
Okay. So do you want to check the video? You can go ahead.
Now that we know the basic organization of a database, let's take a closer look at the main building block of databases, tables. We saw in the previous lesson that databases are organized into tables, which hold related data about a particular subject. As we've seen, tables are organized into rows and columns. In the world of databases, rows are often referred to as records and columns as fields. A table's fields are limited to those set when the database was created, but the number of rows is unlimited. Let's talk a little bit more about table naming. Table names should be lowercase and should not include spaces. We use underscores in place of spaces. And ideally, a table name would refer to a collective group, like inventory, but it's also okay for the table to have a plural name, such as products. A record is a row in a table. It holds data on an individual observation. Taking a look at the patrons table, we see that the table has 4 records, one for each of the patrons. The record for Yasmin indicates that she became a member in 2022 and owes $2.05 in fines. A field is a column in a table. It holds one piece of information about all observations in the table. The name field in the patrons table lists all of the names of our library patrons. Because field names must be typed out when querying a database with SQL, field naming is important. Generally, field names should be lowercase and should not involve spaces. A field name should be singular rather than plural because it refers to the information contained in that field for a single record. This is why our table has card num and name fields rather than card nums and names. Similarly, 2 fields in a table cannot have the same name. Finally, field names should never share a name with the table they are housed in, so that it's clear in all cases whether a field or table is being referred to. A unique identifier, sometimes called a key, is just what it sounds like. A unique value which identifies a record so that it can be distinguished from other records in the same table. This value is very often a number. In the patrons table, it makes sense to use the card num field as the unique identifier for each patron, not the name field, because it's possible that as our little library grows, 2 patrons might have the same name. Having more tables, each with a clearly marked subject, is generally better than having fewer tables where information about multiple subjects is combined. Take a look at the patrons and checkouts tables. Now, here's what our patrons and checkouts tables would look like if we tried to combine them. It's the same data, but much less clear because it now contains duplicate information. While we can see that Izzy has 2 checkouts and Maham has none, the card num column is no longer unique because of Izzy's multiple checkouts. We can always use SQL to gather information from multiple related tables and connect them if a question requires it, but table topics should remain separate. Let's table this discussion so we can get started practicing.
The table name should not be capitalized is correct. The customers field should be renamed. True. Underscore in the field name should be replaced with spaces. No. The field name should be made singular. Yeah. The field name should be capitalized. No. The table name should be made singular. Yeah.
Cross check.
Oh.
Underscore.
But did they say that it's better to not have spaces?
Like underscore have the and space in between, wrap around the. Can you go back?
Where?
Okay. So is it the correct answer? Like,
No. There's 2 wrong in this area.
okay, around.
Um, no. That's right, right?
चली जाओ.
Why should table names not be capitalized?
Uh, like, it's ideal way, like because we write the capital, all the codes like select, from, where, all the to buy that code apart from where, buy, right? Right, all these codes capital fonts. So they use all these small fonts or the right having average. All the codes in SQL are usually capitalized.
Yeah, but I put it like suggest for improvement. So that means that it should be capitalized, right?
They are saying
That means it should be capitalized because it's for improvement.
right?
Because if it's like right, then it should be do not suggest. But it's under
Maybe, or
suggest.
maybe they are just not. Can you, okay, be capitalized. Capitalized. Only name along with the command capitalized. This part might all letters have table capitalized. Names mean column name.
Didn't they say it should be plural? I mean, shouldn't they say that it should be singular?
I think they can mean like there are
That means
some
it's
rules.
wrong, right?
No, it's not wrong. Like there are some rules. Like, this should be there. Like while creating.
But do not suggest for improvement means that it's right. And suggest for improvement is wrong. So all these right hand side are in. They are not accepted. The right hand side is acceptable, and the left hand is not. Because it says do not suggest for improvement. That means it doesn't have to be improved.
Oh, like suppose you have written query in, right. You follow any. So what kind of improvements are there? That's written on the left hand side, right? You should go for these and not suggest for improvement means not follow these.
I guess.
Will need. So what they are saying in the video, get that point? Okay, well done. I think this all the under. That's wrong. Not have any spaces in not table. That's wrong. Well, otherwise you'll have down say quotes around it, around this, as we did in the.
Okay,
So all these right hand
okay,
continue. Here you can some book. First you
Welcome to the final part of the databases chapter. This lesson will focus on the data inside a database as well as its storage. When a table is created, a data type must be indicated for each field. The data type is chosen based on the type of data that the field will hold, a number, text, or a date, for example. We use data types for several reasons. First, different types of data are stored differently and take up different amounts of storage space. Second, some operations only apply to certain data types. It makes sense to multiply a number by another number, but it does not make sense to multiply text by other text, for example. In programming, a string refers to a sequence of characters such as letters or punctuation. On the patrons table, the data in the names field is made up of strings, such as Maham and James. SQL has several different data types that can hold strings. Some string data types can only hold short strings, such as a string up to 250 characters. Storing short strings in a small data type like this saves storage space. SQL's varchar data type is more flexible and can store small or large strings, up to tens of thousands of characters. Because of its flexibility, varchar is very commonly used for storing strings. Integer data types store whole numbers, such as the years in the member year column of the patrons table. Just as with strings, SQL offers a few different data types for storing integers, depending on how big the numbers we'd like to store are. Int, a common SQL integer data type, can store numbers from less than -2 billion to more than +2 billion. Float data types store numbers that include a fractional part, such as the $2.05 that one patron, Yasmin, owes in fines. Just as we might expect, SQL also offers several float data types depending on how many digits the numbers in the field are expected to be. The numeric data type can store floats which have up to 38 digits total, including those before and after the decimal point. Now that we're familiar with data types, we can look at a database schema. Schemas are often referred to as blueprints of databases. A schema shows a database's design, such as what tables are included in the database and any relationships between its tables. A schema also lets the reader know what data type each field can hold. The schema for our library database shows the varchar data type is used for strings like book title, author, and genre. We can also see that the patrons table is related to the checkouts table, but not the books table. Finally, let's discuss storage. The information we find in a database table is physically stored on the hard disk of a server. Servers are centralized computers that perform services via requests made over a network. In our case, the service performed is data access, but servers are also used to access websites or files stored on a server. Any computer can be a server if it is set up to provide a service, even a laptop. However, servers are generally very powerful and large machines because they are best equipped to handle a high volume of requests and data. Okay, let's get some practice with data.
Is it the second one?
Sir, but uh, can technically possible for laptop. Can you see? While it is technically possible, false laptops are not a server, right? Technically, they might be a server, a laptop into a server, but laptops are not well suitable to the job. They are not powerful enough to. So you can put your website can put multiple very concurrently. You are communicating with, right?
Okay.
Can you submit answer and
Yeah.
go ahead? Did you connect the dots like while it is how it's correct?
Yeah. Is this the last one? Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Phone numbers such as this one. You are asking about this question?
Now I'm asking, is this the last exercise for the thing?
Yes.
Um, Numeric? Is it numeric?
Uh, can you see this hyphen in between numerical one?
Yeah.
So can you any hyphen or any comma or any plus sign in between numerical value?
I don't think so.
Neither it's either not numeric, it's a character, including a spatial character.
Numeric is float, right?
Yes, you can say. Fine, all correct?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we will continue size